Thank you for liking this video. Greetings of love and happiness with massive gratitude for the Most High daily. Yes, I am massively giving thanks. I'm happy to announce that today is Peter Tosh's birthday. So I started off with one of my favorite Peter Tosh songs, Lessons in My Life. And it's a beautiful song because it gives attention to, life and wanting to be honest and progressive, but people are not that way. So, Peter Tosh, I shout out to his mom for birthing him, for his, and greetings. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Lisa. Hi, hello, hi, hey there. Today is Peter Tosh's birthday. Thank you for liking this video. Oh my goodness, that means so much. When you come on and you greet with kindness, you're going to receive that back tenfold. Remember that. And liking this video, when you do something good, when you are positive and liking and loving and staying in that space, you're going to reap that. You are good soil. I said this yesterday. We talk about sowing into good soil. We are the good soil. You have to sow into yourself. You have to stand up as a woman and take care of yourself and take care of you and, your children. Or you're going to, you're going to constantly be looking outside to put into things that are outside of yourself, into institutions, into, things and people outside of yourself. And you're sowing into that. I've done that. I've sowed into people and not myself. I've, been selfless. And in that, in that space of being selfless and giving, outside, I forgot about me. So now in my life at 55, yes, at 55, I am sowing into me. And I have held on to my resources because of that, because I have a plan and I have a mission and I have a goal. And that goal is right there. I can touch it, and it's important to have that willingness to prepare. People living for today, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna die anyway. It's like, I watched a 109-year-old man yesterday, or this morning rather, on a report, a story, I think it was on ABC, and a black man, 109 years old, he's still driving. You have to see this. I wish I could put it in the descriptions. I'll probably do that after I edit this. But thank you for liking this video, by the way. Thank you so much for liking it. That means a lot. And, we have to embrace that within ourselves. Okay. Thank you so much, Eileen. Thank you. And Aviation Mechanic 3. I don't know what that is. Okay, or who that is. I have, sometimes, trollers and people, but we want to wish them kindness and love and compassion as they go throughout their day. I do not like flies. I'm gonna get this one. Where did he go? Ah. Okay. Oh, goodness. So in that space, and listening to that 109-year-old man, everything he was doing made him happy. And it seemed like happiness is what's keeping him um going. He's happy. He smokes his cigar and he goes to church, um and that sort of thing. And he has a friend who's 91 years old, and they go to church together. And he's living his life at 109. He doesn't know how long he has. He doesn't know when. He believes in God, yes, but he doesn't know when God is coming to take him. He said, we came into this world not knowing, when we came, and we're not going to know when we're going to go. So, it's powerful how we can be able to live and thrive based on what is inside of us. But the world sells us all this stuff and we buy into it, instead of looking at ourselves. An example is losing weight. People buy into all that stuff, losing weight and all that. I'm gonna go get him. I told him I'm doing the psalm and he's gonna still make all this barking noises. I told him to stop doing that. Where's the closet? Put you in the closet. That's where he goes. Okay. Yes. Yeah, I told him to stop that barking when I'm doing my psalm. And he goes by the door because he hears other dogs and he does it. And he's got to learn to stop. So he's a little Westie, and Westies think, they're just got this attitude. Anyway, so we celebrating Peter Tosh today. October 19th is his birthday. And we are, giving thanks. And in that space that we're in, giving thanks, we want to honor ourselves. We want to honor that's within us, because that's the beginning of building your relationship with something higher than what you see around you or the people that you see around you. And that is amazing, Elsu. Thank you for sharing that. 103, that is just beautiful that you were around that. That being, so when I saw that, it just, I cried in happiness, because I so related to him and what he was about and what he spoke about doing and living and being. And it just reminded me of my dad, and it just took me to that space that there are people out here living, their life in happiness. You too can be that. And that's a beautiful thing, because he still drives his truck. He's still driving his truck. He's still in that active state of life, as El Sue just mentioned about her patient having that sharp state of mind. And one of the classes I had to take was called Aging in the Families. And this class, I had to interview an elder person. And I had to go to I think it was like a nursing home or assisted living place. And one of the things that I found was, in the interview, the patient said none of her family comes to see her. And she was glad that I came. I was there to talk to, somebody to talk to. So in that learning experience that I had, and that El Sue is mentioning here now, we see, and then I'm talking about Peter Tosh, and he's one of our ancestors now. He's in that ancestral life. Death to us because we're alive. Some of us are. And we have this advocate that is righteousness, that keeps and shelters and gives in abundance the goodness and grace of what is good and what is kind. And I'm trying to battle flies here as I'm Chant. I don't like flies at all. So when I look at today, Peter Tosh's birthday, and what he basically, stood for, and what his music was about, I'm inspired. And I've always wanted to do a one-woman show portraying Peter Tosh, taking on the character of a male, and performing a one-woman show, but it's Peter Tosh, and it's called Lessons in My Life, based on that song of his. So now that I've expanded my thoughts into, I am going to produce a girl band. Where did this come from, right? This has always been something inside of me. And that's the example I'm trying to give, is when you are sowing into yourself. And, when I talk about that, I'm talking about what you do physically, what you listen to, the things that you're around. All of that is sowing into you. And is it even reading a book? You're sowing into yourself when you're silently reading a book. You're taking that in. Food, the things that you eat, I've kind of lapsed. You remember I said I had a turkey burger. I'm going off this because I'm going through grief. And sometimes when you're going through grief, you find yourself in a space where you need comfort, and food may be that, sex may be that. That's not what's happening with me. I'm waiting for my partner to be married to engage in those things, because I found that in the past, not having, even when I was married to my children's dad, it wasn't really what it was. And I'll talk about that later on. But you find things out as you get older. And the longer you're on the earth, the more you're able to learn. Thank you so much for liking this video. That means so much when you like the video, when you're tuning in and listening, because you don't have to be here. So in that space and in that time that we have to be diligent, and we have to be, good to ourselves. And being good to ourselves is about sowing into ourselves. As women, okay, as Black women, we care for so many people, or we are caring for so many people. We have to care for ourselves. We have to care for our children. We have to care for our parents. We're caring for so many people. We have to take that time to sow into ourselves, to stop and care for ourselves. And there's many ways we can do that. Everybody is different. Some people take care of themselves by taking a walk. Some people take care of themselves by taking a bubble bath. Some people take care of themselves by going out camping or horseback riding, or some people take care of themselves by taking care of um, vulnerable populations, children, aging families, animals, anything that's vulnerable and needs human help, the marginalized, the oppressed, that those sorts of people that need help. So when I look at the Psalm today, Psalm 50, it's titled God Himself is Judge. And I define God in an operational way. God operates in a righteousness, in a goodness, in a mercy, love, kindness, long suffering, forgiveness, compassion, grace. God operates in those spaces, okay? And uses that to fight the battles, our battles, and to deal with folks, and I keep telling my son, stop judging folks, and when you get mad and upset and stuff like that, you want to blame the person and fight the person, and judge the person and all this stuff. That takes away from you sowing into yourself, because now that energy is expounded on the outside, on who is making you feel this way, who is doing this to you, who is doing that to you. And I myself had to let go of that, because that distracted me from pouring into myself and sowing into that soil, that good soil. That's me. But people make you feel bad. People can make you feel like you're wrong, or that you're not worthy, or they can devalue you. They can make you feel that, right? And you go seeking for someone to complete you or to make you feel that way. You're gonna be in relationships every 3 years. Every 6 years you're in something new. So you never get to find who you are, and never get to sow into that you are, because you're always seeking for what's on the outside. So the Psalm today, when I look at, God, I'm looking at that as an operational definition, defined as righteousness. Okay. And this Psalm has, let's see, about 23 verses. So we're going to get right into it, because we are 20 minutes in now here. And I am nourishing a friendship. And in nourishing a friendship, I want to give that time to that. I'm busy. I have a lot of work that I'm doing, and someone says I'm not gonna be with anyone because I'm too busy. And when I heard that, I said, that's probably true, and probably why someone who I was with wasn't ready for being with a woman that is busy, a woman that has a career. I always said I don't work at Walmart, and I don't put anyone down for working at Walmart, but I don't work in this 9 to 5 or 8 to 5, shifts, or 12-hour shifts, or where I'm outside. I work at home and in my office. I'm working. I am, reading something or finding something out. I got it. Or finding something out, so that I could be in a position to better support the families, the children that I serve. I'm a servant, and my service comes before self. If I can't get to you or speak to you, or I can't get to see you for your birthday and I send you something, that is all I could give at that time. Some people, don't think that's enough, and you can never do enough for someone. There's always something you didn't do or you didn't do. However, relationship shouldn't be one-sided. It should not be. It should be a balance, and in that balance, you have that team. A team, like a football, and people watch football all the time and see how the teams work together and play, but then they don't do that in their lives. I'm confused about that. So working together and being equally, yoked, and you're matched, meaning that you both want to take a dollar bill and use it in the same way, or both of you look at money in the same way, where you are going to use the money, not the money use you. And some people don't look at things the same way. And when you don't look at things the same way, it's going to be hard to sustain that equilibrium in the relationship. And I know that from my own experience. So, oftentimes we don't see that because we want to help a person. We want to bring them. Someone told me that, they were like a chewing gum on the pavement, and I just kind of scraped them up and, helped. And I said, wow, that they would make that analogy to what I was in their life. So you have to ask yourself, was there any deep, real, true love there, or was it just an opportunity or a come up, And I've always asked that, I feel like I'm being used, and am I being used, and it was always, no, I'm not, no. But that's the action that was happening. So when I look at this psalm, I look at it very humbly, because it is about me. I mean, I feel myself there in this Psalm 50, with God being righteousness, and that righteousness is what is going to judge folks, not other folks, but righteousness is going to judge, folks. And within that, space, that God space, I call it that Jesus love, that's where all goodness shines from. So that is what is in Psalm 50, the first two verses, about establishing that mightiness of that righteousness, right? It speaks, the mighty one, God the Lord, speaks and summons the earth from the rise of the sun to the setting of the sun. Verse 2, out of Zion, and we define what Zion is. It's defined here again, the perfection of beauty. Righteousness shines forth. God shines forth. So Psalm 50 verse 1 and 2 sets this up beautifully, like really, really nice. I'm just like, wow, I love it. And verse 3 now comes in, and I named my daughter Fire, right? And when I was pregnant with her, I said, that's going to be the name, whether it's a girl or a boy. And I thought it was a boy, actually. I was roughhousing. I was riding horses at 8 months pregnant. Yeah. I was 8 months pregnant, and I was riding a horse up a mountain. And, so I was active and reading the scriptures and reading the story of Moses and the burning bush. I just was, love that story. So I said, that's her name. So verse 3, this is what, and this psalm is beautifully written because it sets up in the beginnings, verse 1 and 2, about this mighty one, right? This God, the Lord, that speaks, and summons the earth. It says speaks. And then verse 3 is like, look, this one does not keep silence, because it says in verse 1 that the word speaks. When somebody speaks, they're not silent. They're opening their mouth and they're talking. They're using words and language, maybe limited because of their limited experience with language and words, because people don't read anymore. They just get their information from a box. And Psalm 50 verse 3, it echoes verse 1 about speaking and not keeping silent. Because before righteousness, and I got to explain this because people might think the devil, Satan, got a pitchfork and he's in the fire, and he's fire all around. No, he runs from that. He does not want any fire. So in verse 3, it is evidence of that. Okay? Before righteousness, right? Before righteousness, before God, right, is a devouring fire. I didn't write that in there, y'all. Is a devouring fire. Around God is a mighty tempest. Okay? Is a tempest is a violent windy storm. That's what a tempest is. So we see that God, righteousness, is being defined here. It does not keep silent with righteousness. People who are righteous, they stand up for that and they speak it. They speak out against wrongness. They're activists. I look at myself as an activist. I'm an advocate. I fight for what is right. So I should have been an attorney. Anyway, verse 4 now talks about that righteousness that God calls to the heavens above and to the earth. So above and on the earth, that righteousness may judge righteous people. Because remember, the wicked is not going to stand in the judgment. They're not going to stand in it. They're going to fall. But the righteous will stand in the judgment and be lifted up in the day of trouble, right? So that is going to judge righteous people, because righteous people, they have to endure a lot. They have to endure a lot, and they have to be able to stand firm in that righteousness, because there's so many things that come at ones who are righteous to do the wrong things, to say the wrong things, to leave vicious voicemails, stuff like that. And I'm guilty for certain things, because when I speak to someone who has betrayed me, and they feel guilty. They want to call you, they want to talk to you, they want to tell you they love you and all this, and blame you that you didn't have time for the relationship or whatever, giving them an excuse to, feel good about what they did. And so oftentimes when people have done you wrong, they avoid you, they avoid seeing you. I give the example of when you're around, it's like the light comes on and all the roaches scatter and they go hide under a piece of wood, so that's what I feel when people avoid me. It's like they're roaches, and the lights are come on and they're scattering to go hide. So, and that is, that is the Most High. That's righteousness, protecting. Righteousness protects us. And we sometimes, we sometimes end up learning the hard way. Okay. And we see signs, and signs are billboards. They're billboards in our face, but we refuse to see it. And sometimes it's because of some kind of trauma, right? And within ourselves. And that's why I speak about sowing into yourself, that you're the soil, and you're sowing that seed into good soil, because you are good. You don't need anything outside of you to add to you to make you better. You're better. You belong. You're worthy and valued. And we have to tell ourselves that. People do that. They get up in the morning and say, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm valued, I'm loved, I'm kindness, and I'm merciful, and I'm compassionate, I'm forgiving. Somebody stepped on my toe, I'm going to say, it's okay, I'm forgive you. All of that. So you want to be in that space. And in verse, 5, there's a quote, because verse 4 says there's a call. Remember, there's speaking happening. The mighty one is speaking, is not silent, and is calling to the heavens and to the earth below for these folks to change their wickedness, right? That the righteousness may judge righteous people. So this is what righteousness is speaking of now. Verse 5, gather to me my faithful ones. Okay? Because in verse 4 it says that he may judge his people. And his people mean righteous people. It doesn't mean black people alone, white people alone, Jewish people alone, Muslim people. It doesn't mean these different separate man-made creations, okay, of race. You're black, you're white, And that was created for the purpose of oppression. It wasn't created to lift anybody up. Booker T. Washington said you lift yourself up with your own bootstraps or whatever, right? Because the society wasn't created to lift you up. It was created to keep you oppressed and keep you in a certain, demographic or red line. So his people, that means, right, to me, righteous people, you're going to be judged. Okay. And now we listen to the speech, we listen to, there's no silence, and we listen to the call. Gather, my faithful ones, right? Who made a covenant with me by sacrifice, not with this person or that person or the other person. When you marry, you're making a covenant with the Most High. And by sacrifice, that sacrifice that you're making to sow into not just you, but someone else. You're becoming now selfless because it's another person there, right? So we see in this Psalm 50 that the heavens, in verse 6, declare righteousness of the Most High, of that mighty one, that God, the Lord, that speaks and summons the earth. That one, right? That righteousness, the heavens are declaring that. For righteousness itself is judge. Selah. This is verse 6. So the heavens declaring this righteousness. That's why you always seek for what's above. Because what's on the earth, it's the only thing that's remaining that's righteous to me is nature. I can trust that I'm going to take a walk outside and be in nature and okay, if a big bear comes, that was sent. I see that. And I'm just going to humble myself and, deal with it. But you know what that bear is coming to do. But another human being like you want to trust, and you do trust, and then end up, as Peter Tosh in his song Lessons in My Life, about being, betrayed, basically. So oftentimes we are being betrayed or judging other people for betraying us. That's why I don't judge anyone. If you're happy where you are and that's where you want to be, and I want you to be happy. And I'm not going to judge how you went about dealing with that and how you went about treating me in the process of dealing with that. It wasn't dealt with with righteousness. It wasn't dealt with, honesty, humility, and anything like that. However, I'm not going to turn that into where I'm going to judge you and put you on a firing squad, because I am not God. I am not that one who speaks and summons the earth from the rising of the sun to the setting. I'm not that one who's going to judge anyone. I'm not that one. That one, I serve that one, but I'm not that one, right? I am a daughter of that one. I'm a child of that one. And in being that, I have to not judge people. I can't judge you because you want to go and be an astronaut and I don't. I want to stay on the earth. I'm not going to judge you because you want, to go, wherever, and I don't. Everybody is different and everybody likes what they like. We are not to judge that. People call people weird. because they watch a movie or they watching this or they doing something that you're weird, you know. So in the psalm today, it's very powerful for the children and the faithful ones who made a covenant to sacrifice, through sacrifice. And some people sacrifice today for tomorrow. You know, I'm not going to spend this on this because I am going to sacrifice that for something else. And when a person can do that and think in those ways, they're mature. They're mature. But a toddler, a first or second grader, is not mature to do that, right? Or to think, to prepare. That's why they have a parent to get them ready for school, to prepare these things. And they can participate in that, but ultimately they're not mature enough to, think about what's for dinner. Let me prepare dinner, People are feeding children with fast foods that is not nutrition. There's nothing in there. It's no nutrition in that fast food at all. It might quell your hunger for a moment and be inside of your stomach processing and trying to process, really, because your body is very fragile and it's deteriorating every day. So when you put dead, deteriorating things in there, you're contributing to that deterioration. I'm an example. This idea of not eating meat, I have fallen short of that, because I want to eat living foods that are alive and that's not cooked, but I can eat them and then they process in my body in a better way. From the time I returned now eating a turkey burger, I'm hearing my stomach growling because I have put inside of it that meat and that that non-living food is processing in there, and my body wants more. And this is what happens. This is how people become overweight, because if you look at the scientific breakdown of food in your body, especially meat, this is what it does. It creates more. You want more. You want more. But when we look at sacrifice, what are we sacrificing? Okay. So today's question is, what lessons have you learned in your life as we remember Peter Tosh and as we look at this psalm? What sacrifices have you made in your life? What lessons have you learned in your life? So in verse 6, we see the heavens are declaring that righteousness, for God himself is judge, Selah. So verse 7, listen, and verse 7 is talking about listen, because remember we start off with speaking and summoning and calling and not being silent. Now it's talking in quotations for people to listen, and righteousness is going to speak and testify. Okay, and righteousness is going to testify against, folks, okay, that I am the I am. I am God, your God. I am the I am. And verse 8 is like, not for your sacrifices do I rebuke you. Like, I'm not going to, rebuke you for your sacrifices. Your burnt offerings are always before, me. And I will not accept, a bull from your house or goats from your folds. Like these sacrifices that, people take animals and sacrifice them on the altar and, to God and all this. It's like, God is like, I don't need all that. I'm not going to accept all that, because every beast of the forest is mine already. So you don't have to go kill an animal and cut it up and sacrifice and eat that, because it belongs to me already. what you are supposed to be eating is the green herbs. That is supposed to be your food, right? So this idea that the Most High is like every beast of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the hills, and all that moves in the field is mine. So all of this belongs to the Most High. All these animals, these birds, these cattle, and people eat these, right? They sacrifice them. They And then we look at verse 12, and it says, when I were hungry, I would not tell you. Like your stomach growling and you're like, I'm hungry, I gotta get something. I wouldn't tell you. Like, I feel bad when I say that, because people are hungry and they don't have anything to eat. I'm going to get something to eat and fulfill my hunger, right? Eventually. So I'm not going to say I'm hungry, because I'm not. I'm going to be fed. I look forward to that. So this is in quotations, verse 12, and it says, the Most High is speaking. When I were hungry, I would not tell you. For the world and its fullness are mine. Okay. Now remember, I talked about you are the good soil. You're sowing into your good soil. This is where that is. This is part of that you already were with the Most High in creation. You were part of that creation. You were created out of that love. And because of that, you shouldn't be hungry, because it's all belonged to you. So you shouldn't worry about what you're going to eat, in other words. Verse 13 is talking about, now it's a question. Do I eat the flesh of animals or drink the blood of goats? That's a kind of a rhetorical question. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? And in verse 14, it tells us what we need to do. Offer thanks. Just give thanks. Offer to God a sacrifice of thanksgiving and perform your vows to the Most High. Done. What are your vows? To do good, to treat people good. That's what you're going to do. Be honest, forthcoming, being, authentic in who you are, and offering that as a sacrifice of thanksgiving. Like, instead of worrying about being hungry, instead of eating all this flesh and blood, give thanks and perform your vows to the Most High. And what are your vows? Your vows is to not to hurt any flesh or be part of that. But you're going to perform your vows to the Most High. And in verse 15, you're going to call upon that in the day of trouble, and you're going to be delivered, and you're going to glorify that for delivering you out of harm's way. Okay? Verse 16, this is what the wicked says. This is what the wicked says. This is the wicked saying this now. What right have you to recite? Well, this is what God says to the wicked. Okay, this is what God says to the wicked. God says to the wicked, what right? And the wicked is those who do wrong. They don't want to err on the side of kindness. They leave vicious voicemails, in other words. These are those folks. So God is saying, what right have you to recite my statutes or take my covenant on your lips? What right have you to talk about God, Lord, and Jesus, or to take the covenant on your lips when you do not love discipline? This is verse 17. For you hate discipline, and you cast righteous words behind you and cursing people out on voicemails. So God is speaking to the wicked now and telling them, what right have you to even recite my statutes and take my covenant on your lips? For you don't love discipline. You dislike discipline, and you don't use words of kindness. You throw these words of kindness behind you and picking up words, manipulating people with your words and cursing people out. When who God bless, no one can curse. You think I'm afraid of anyone leaving voicemails cursing? And then turn around and calling and wishing happy birthday to me? Like, that's a psychotic. That's psycho. So the wicked doesn't love discipline. They don't love to use good words. They throw good words behind them, and they go on with their wrongness. When they see a thief, they please with the thief. When they see wrongness, they're pleased with it. They keep company with adulterers. Yeah. People who in relationship and then they go out on their relationship with someone else and don't tell the person they're with. That's keeping company with adulterers. This is what they're pleased with. When they see a thief, when they see someone trying to take another person's relationship, guess what? They're pleased with them, and this is who they're keeping company with. This is who they're keeping company with. I'm calling nights and night, calling, no answer. This is what is happening. But to the wicked, these wicked folks, this is what God says. What right have you to recite my statutes or take my covenant on your lips, you wickedness? For you don't love discipline, and you cast my words behind you. When you see wrongness, when you see a hoe, you're pleased with the hoe, and you keep company with the hoeing adulterers. So in verse 19, God is telling the wicked, you giving your mouth free rein for evil. Thank you for liking this. You see that? God is telling this person, you give your mouth free rein for evil, leaving a vicious voicemail for this woman, cursing this woman out. Her father just passed away. Her dad just passed away. And this is how you're going to deal with folks? That's wickedness to the core. Because look at verse 19. The wicked giving their mouth free rein for evil, and their tongue framing lies upon lies upon lies. Verse 20. The wicked, God is talking to the wicked, and God says, you sit and speak against your companion. You speaking about your companion with another woman, speaking against your companion. She this, she that, she's always away. I need somebody next to me, and I need that. And you slandering your own mother's son. Because your mother's son is standing up and saying you're wrong. Why you treat that woman that way? Now you're slandering your own mother's son. Because you sitting and speaking against your sister, your brother. So God keeps talking to the wicked and says, these things you have done, and I have been silent. You thought that I was one just like yourself. But now I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, and I lay the charge before you. That charge is laid before you. You have to answer to that. Okay? You have to answer to that. Because people think this is what God is telling the wicked. These things you have done, you wicked. You have done these things. Your mouth is raining with evil. You cast the righteous words behind you, and you calling people, leaving vicious voicemails. This is what you're doing. These things you have done, and I have been silent. You thought that I was one like you, a hoe. But now I rebuke you and lay the charge before you. This is what the Most High is telling the wicked. And verse 22, the Most High says, mark this, then, you who forget righteousness, you who forget love, you who forget honesty, you who forget compassion, you who forget long suffering, you who forget grace, you who forget kindness, you who forget truth and honesty, you who forget God. That's what God is all about. Thank you for liking this video. Verse 22, God is saying, mark this, you who forget God, lest I tear you apart and there be none to deliver you. Yes, you better not forget righteousness and all the attributes of that, or you're going to get torn apart and there will be none to deliver you. None. Absolutely none. The one who offers thanks and gives thanks, even in the pain and the hurt that they have been through. When that one offers thanks, the one who offers thanksgiving as his sacrifice glorifies righteousness. That is your sacrifice, to give thanks. So that vicious voicemail should have been said, thank you. Give thanks. I give thanks, to God be the glory. And that would be the end of the voicemail. But people will show you better than they can tell you. Wickedness is in high and low places now. And these low places is where the roaches are hiding. And when the light comes on, when you come out, they scatter and run. Because there are going to be none to deliver them. Because all they refuse to do is to give thanks. Give thanks. You're lonely, you're depressed, you're in a despair. Give thanks that you're alive to feel those things. And go deep into the scriptures. Go deep into yourself. Sow that good seed into you. You are the good soil. Sow it into you. Stop looking outside of yourself for someone to rescue you or someone to save you. The one who offers thanks is the one who glorifies that righteousness. That's how you build your relationship with the Most High, is you're giving thanks to one who orders their way righteously. When you order your way in a righteous way and you're erring on the side of righteousness, guess what? Guess what? Guess what? You're going to be shown salvation. And what is salvation? It's a future. Yeah, you're going to be shown salvation. You're going to have a future, in other words. You're not going to be out here struggling at 50 years old or 55 like me. Okay, you're going to have a future. And I'm speaking about myself because I wasted time sowing my good seed into other folks. So I wasted time. So that's why I'm speaking now of that as for me, myself, and looking at myself. So my my I need help here. Anyway, that's the end of the psalm. That's 23 verses. We're at an hour, and the psalm took an hour to unpack. So Selah and Selah again. I ask that the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart is acceptable in the sight of the Most High. Thank you, Brian Battle. You needed this. I needed this myself because I am building my relationship with that righteousness, and it takes time. It takes looking into yourself, and we have to remember who we are. We have to. We have to stop this fighting with each other and this jealousy and this envy and this animosity and this insecurity. We're insecure in our relationships because we haven't sown our seed into ourselves. And in order for us to do that, we have to look within ourselves. So the word today, as we shift now to the word today, it's about, thank you so much, Elsu. It is lessons. And I shouldn't say no time is wasted, because it's time that, even though I look at it as a waste, it was a time that I learned to live the right way now, moving ahead. So the psalm I referenced today was Psalm 50. I know you joined a little bit late, and it's okay. You're never late. You're always you're always where you're supposed to be. So the psalm today was 50, and it was beautiful. I mean, absolutely beautiful in terms of it coming to a full meaning of how we need to be in our lives, and how we need to have the free will. We have the free will to be that righteous, to be that goodness. So the word today is free, and it's from dailyword.com. It's published by Unity Publishers. And on this Saturday Rise, we look at the word free, and it speaks of living authentically is one of my greatest freedoms. And I talked about that today. So you can subscribe to this channel, and you can like this video. Please like the video. If you don't like it, keep it to yourself. But living authentically is what I do. And sometimes I'm so authentic that people get upset at me, because then I shed light on the depression and the despair, and I shed light on places where there is no light. And people don't want the light to be shed on them, because then they have to now look at the truth. Yes, the word today is free, living authentically, authenticity, authentic, okay? You are free to be who you are. In the world we live in, that may not be the case. Some people are hiding who they are in order to get where they want to go. And oftentimes it's a disservice, okay? So in the word today, it speaks of, I am free to be me. I honor who I am, a divine being with abundant righteousness gifts, that express through me uniquely. So there may have been times I thought I needed to be more like other people, right? You look at the outside to try to help your inside instead of looking on the inside to help your outside. We got it backwards because the world gets us twisted. So your righteousness, that goodness, those are gifts that are expressed through you in a unique way. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. So those gifts, you express them in a unique way. Only you can express them, right? Like when I do a painting, that painting is my unique expression. And yes, God does require a thankful heart, and we must be thankful not just for the good things that are happening in our lives, but when things are challenging, we have to still give thanks. Give thanks, just like El Sue said. It's not a waste of time. You're always learning something. So we have to give thanks for the ability to learn through the pain of something happening or some challenge or some adversity. So there may have been times I thought I needed to be more like other people and not stand out. I may have sought to conform, to tamp down my individuality, but doing this robs me of my free will to be fully who I am. Okay? Today, now, I want each of you to reclaim your righteous free will by allowing yourself to live authentically. Okay? You need not hide yourself behind a relationship or pretend to be something you're not. Okay? The important thing is to live your free will, is being aware of your true nature as a divine being. You are a divine being. Remember I said that you were with the Creator in the creation. So all that love poured out onto you, all that kindness poured onto you, all that compassion poured onto you. But when you arrived on the earth as an infant, a babe, you may have had parents that don't know that, or may have done the opposite and may have hurt you, or something had happened that's adverse in your childhood that now has peeled over to your adulthood. And it's not allowing you to see yourself. You've always had to hide who you were or who you are in order to not get a spanking or something, or something. So you learned how to hide. You learned how to not be authentic because of not wanting to stand out and not wanting people to, whatever. So the love that you have in your heart, the ideas that you have in your mind, they're all divinely inspired. Okay. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. I appreciate that. And that love inside of you is what I'm talking about, that soil. You are the good soil. You need to sow into that good soil, okay? And then you'll be able to be fully present for someone, or fully in your maturity in Christ for someone, because you are loving, that love inside your heart, you are tapping into that. And the ideas that fill your mind, they're all divinely inspired. Any idea I get, and I get a lot of ideas, okay? I have a couple projects going on right now as we speak. People are creating my ideas and putting them into, the hands of people that's going to help people. And I'm not looking for, it's not about money to me and monetary financial wealth. It's about helping people. And then that monetary financial it'll be there. But that's not your focus. You shouldn't focus on these things of the world. You should focus on trying to help folks. How can you be a help to people? How can you lift people up? How can you inspire people? How can you encourage people? Because when you do that, you're sowing into yourself, really. that's part of sowing into yourself, into that good soil, by taking those righteous gifts and sharing them out there. So how you express those gifts is your individuality made manifest and the fullest expression of your free will. I don't even say freedom, your free will, because you have that. Today's word is being brought to us by John 8:36. And John 8:36 says, "So when the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed." And what is that Son? That righteousness, that love, that kindness that's inside of you. You know, we always hear God lives in you. You know, Jesus is in there. And you can close your eyes and you can see that one. You know, when I was a little girl, this lady told me, I was at my grandmother's guest house, because I was always at my grandmother's guest house going through, you know, watching her take care of her business, basically. That she was a sole proprietor. She was running that business. Anyway, this lady had me sit and she said, "I want you to close your eyes. I want you to, you're going to see Jesus." So I closed I'm a little girl. I didn't know anything. I'm a little girl and I'm closing my eyes, and oh my goodness, what appeared to me. I was like, what in the world? This light. And then you see this figure. It's a person. But there's so much light you cannot see. You can't see. You know, when you close your eyes, there's light that you see. It was just unbelievable. So when John 8:36, John chapter 8 verse 36 is talking about the Son making you free, and you're going to be free indeed. That feeling that I felt as a child was a free feeling. It just spurred me on in a way where I had no fear after that. I would be in the bushes, going here, running there. I told my sister, "Come on, let's go down that path." She's like, "Oh, I don't want to go. What's over there?" And I was like, "It's okay, we can go." Because that one appeared, and that one made me have this free feeling. So as a child, I always was a free feeling child. I love going to Sunday service. After that I wanted to go and light the camp. I had to, oh my goodness. So as I grew, you know, I got into I wasn't sewing into myself. I was always looking on the outside because people would look at me a certain way and be like, "Oh, she's so pretty. Oh, she's so," and just, so I would see people's reactions to me, and I would constantly want to please them now, you know, and make them instead of sewing into myself. And being a people pleaser, you're gonna get hurt. Peter Tosh said it best. You can't please everyone all the time. You know, you just can't. So the word today is really beautiful. It was brought to us today by the book of John 8:36. Beautiful. Yes. And it's son, not sin. When the Son makes you free, you will be free indeed. And that Son represents compassion. When you have compassion, you're free. When you have forgiveness, you're free. When you have long suffering, you're free. When you have grace, you're free. When you have love and kindness, you're free. You don't have the weight of hate, because hate is a weight. Love is a free as a feather, right? And it doesn't cost anything to be loving and kind. So that is our psalm today, Psalm 50, and we had the word free. And the verse today, I just want to share that verse today came from Psalms 37 verse 4. And it's about taking delight in that righteousness. So I delight in the goodness, I delight in the mercy and the compassion, all the attributes I just mentioned. And once you delight in that, you're going to be given the desires of your heart. No worries, Brian Battle. Thank you for sharing, actually. And I accept you're sorry for the incorrect spelling, but you are not sorry. You're blessed, highly favored, and wonderfully made. And we do make mistakes. So we are human, we make mistakes. However, we have an advocate for that. So I usually use the words fire eye, meaning let the fire cleanse whatever incorrectness I made. And the fire is mentioned in Psalm 50 today as a tempest that goes before righteousness, right? I love that, Elsu, that you love yourself unconditionally, that allows you to overstand one love for all. Because when you love yourself unconditionally, now you're able to love everyone else unconditionally. But it starts with you first. You have to be the change you want to see in other people, So take delight in righteousness, and righteousness will give you the desires of your heart. And this is what has happened to me. I took delight in righteousness. I was loyal. I didn't betray my relationship. I was honest. I spoke. I talked. I wasn't perfect, but yet I was honest and loyal and forthcoming. And my desires of my heart, because I stayed on that righteous path, even though I was lonely, I missed the person, I wanted even that, I still stayed within my righteousness. My desires of my heart is coming to pass. I've always wanted my own house. I've always wanted that, to share that with someone, right? And now that is happening to me. I'm going to get the keys. Let me show you all this. I'm going to get the keys. And it says new home. Oh, where is it? Right there. So I'm holding on to this because there's the key. Okay. And I'm excited because having a new home, and this says 2007. That's what this says, 2007. This was given to me as an inspiration that I am next. So I'm excited about that. And that's what John, thank you, Elsu. That's what John talks about in John 8:20, in John 8:36, making you free, and that you will be free indeed. And that's what I heard, and that's what I feel. Even though a relationship didn't work out, you're still you're free. You are free, and in that free space, you have the ability to now sow into yourself and into that good soil. Remember, I said you are the good soil. So when you're alone, you have that opportunity to do that. But when you're not alone, you have a lot of noise around you and you're not able to really tap into who you are. So I'm thankful for the opportunity to be alone and to have the time to be alone and to be able to allow access to me by certain people that are honest and trustworthy. So I'm limiting who I interact with and who I give my time to, because my time is precious. I'm very busy. I have a lot going on. Even today is a Saturday. I still working on a Saturday. So, if when I don't get to speak to someone or don't get to speak to you, it's not should be taken personally. it should be encouraging to you to be, she's working on her goals. How can I encourage and support her? As opposed to, oh, she doesn't want to talk to me, I'm going to go find me someone else. Like, that's very immature. So thank you so much. We are at an hour and 22 minutes, and you all have stuck on this with me. The sun, as you can see, is coming in nicely. And I love on a Saturday where I don't have to rush to do anything, but yet I still have work that I have to finish. Thank you so much for joining Chant. I really appreciate everyone's likes of this video, and the support that you have shown through the time I've been doing this. I appreciate every single person that comes on. And I'm trying to find Peter Tosh's title of that song. Oh, I think it's I Am That I Am. Oh, yeah, it is. It is I Am That I Am. And this song, I Am That I Am, really speaks to the Psalm 50 about, and the word today being free. And this is Peter Tosh's I Am That I Am. As we outro, and I'm gonna end the song, we're celebrating, well, I'm celebrating Peter Tosh's birthday today, October 19th. And this song is powerful because it speaks of, I'm not in this world to live up to your expectations, neither are you here to live up to mine. I don't owe no one, no obligation, no one owe me none, so everything is fine, fine. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. So I love that. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. So take delight in righteousness, and righteousness will give you the desires of your heart. Yes, keep doing good. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. Don't underestimate my ability. Don't defame my character. Don't belittle my authority. It's time you recognize my quality. Yeah. And I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. I am that I am, I am, I am, I am. Learn to love your brother and sister. Don't covet your neighbor or your friend's girlfriend or husband. Flee from the city. It's getting shitty. It is full of out equity. It's not inequity, but it's out equity. I am, I am. So the world has gone to, so So we got to prepare ourselves, yeah, and know that we cannot please everybody. I am, I am, I am. I am the rock of the ages. You cannot move I at all. So that rock, the stone, I am the son of lightning. You cannot move I at all. I am the son and daughter of Jacob. You cannot move me at all. I am the son and daughter of Moses. You cannot move I at all. Oh my goodness. I am the son of daughter of David. Blessed, thank you. I am a firm ripe diamond. You cannot move I at all. You could shed more tears. You cannot move I at all. Wow. You could have full of evil. You cannot move I at all. You could have tried more nothing. You cannot move I at all. Wow. And you can try make a something, but that can't move I at all. You could come with an ism. You can't move I at all. And if you come with schism, that can't move I at all. Wow, that is beautiful, y'all. Thank you so much for joining Santa Sama Day. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much. That moved me. Oh my goodness. Have a blessed day, everyone. Thank you for joining Chant Sama Day. Thank you for liking this video, by the way. Thank you so much for liking this video. That means so much. Have a blessed day. Have a blessed day, everyone. Take good care, everybody. Have a blessed one, okay? Remember, stand in love. Stand in love. Take good care.